Good day everyone. Today we're going to do another machinery tour, and this of course is going to be the biological genocide machine, more commonly known as the sprayer. So today we're just going to go over a few basic things. It's very windy outside, and so I don't want to be out there making lots of wind noise, so we're going to show as many things as we can from inside of the tractor. The tractor we're driving today is Magnum. It's in Case H8930, front wheel assist, running duals, does a very nice job of towing the sprayer. So what we're going to start with, we're going to unfold the booms, and we're going to use this hydraulic lever to do that here. Turn on the hydraulics. The gray button is going to raise the center section, which is all the way up. Each of these blue buttons here, these top ones, controls the left, and then the right boom lifts. So we're going to lift them both at the same time. And the bottom right button will extend, red button, sorry, will extend the primary section of boom wing, like so. Now keep in mind this width in this first section of the booms is 50 feet, and we can actually turn on and turn off these first sections individually. So from the center of the sprayer to the right or to the left is 25 feet currently, and we can control that individually. Once that is out all the way, there it is, then we'll go ahead and move over to the yellow button. This is going to open up the next sections. So while those are folding out, we'll explain a few more of the things that we're going to see in here. So 3 hydraulic circuits. The first one there and then that you see in the center of your screen is for the hydraulic pump, that hydraulically driven pump, which is the solution pump for the sprayer. The center one does nothing, and then of course the third one here controls all of the boom stuff. We're still folding out. Here is the GPS, which we've talked about before in another video. This actually tells us where we are in the field, shows us what we have sprayed, what we haven't sprayed, and using this little wheel on the side of the steering wheel will actually drive the tractor for us so that we have a lot less overlap and underlap. This monitor here is the sprayer monitor. It does just a very simple function, and that is it opens and closes a valve according to the speed that we're traveling to keep a constant rate of product going out depending on how fast we're going. Of course, that is also dependent on the rate that we asked it to apply and which sections we have turned on, and a few other little things. You can make a lot of adjustments to it, but its function is very simple, and therefore it is very simple. This next little monitor thing up here up top is for our boom float. So you will see that there's a wheel in the center of your screen there on the end of the boom, or about 2/3 of the way out, I guess. And this wheel carries about 100 pounds of weight or so across the ground. So the boom is sort of touching the ground, but not really. It's more of reference to the ground. I'll show you what I mean. So if we turn this on, it's powering up here. And then we go ahead, we're going to push the bottom gray button, and we're going to lower the center section. We're going to lower it till the hydraulic cylinders on that boom lifts there, right about even with the tires. And so now we can see that it says disabled for both. We're going to turn them on, and the booms are going to come down slowly on their own. One usually, and then the other. There we go. So if I were to go out and grab the end of that boom, which probably weighs a few hundred pounds, maybe, well, actually the whole boom probably weighs 1,000 pounds, I could lift the end of it up very easily. There's not a whole lot of weight riding on that wheel. So that way, the whole boom, all 134 feet of it, is rolling on the ground, but its whole weight isn't resting on the ground, it's hydraulically suspended. And so that system will actually lift and lower the ends of the booms accordingly so they can follow the ground. Next we're going to turn on our sprayer monitor here. And we have applied 346 acres on this field today. And that's how many gallons we put out in the last tank, so we're going to clear that. And now our sprayer monitor is ready to go for this next tank. So we're unfolded, we are not on line, and we're turned the wrong way. So let's go ahead, put that in the right spot. We're going to turn on our solution pump. And so now you will see we now have solution pressure. It's going to fluctuate a bit because there's air in the system because I ran it right out last time. So it's just going to take it a minute. There we go. And it's going to get itself primed and ready to go again. It should stabilize in right around that 100 PSI range. We're going to put the tractor in gear, rev up a little bit. I usually travel in 13th gear at relatively full throttle, which gives me right around 10 miles an hour. We're putting out 10 gallons an acre of solution. We're currently doing a pre-emergent burn-off. It doesn't look like there's a lot of weeds here, and there isn't. But in other places in the field, there are a lot. So we're fairly close to online. So we'll turn on the GPS, we'll turn on the sprayer, even though we're a little early because I know that we didn't fully spray this section. So you probably are not able to see it, maybe a little bit, but there is product coming out of the booms. So I go to rate here. We're putting out 9.5 gallons an acre, which is what I'm shooting for. So remember the sections I talked about earlier. These, the left and the right, are the inside sections, those first parts that folded out on the sprayer, and auxiliary 1 and 2 are the next sections. So auxiliary 1 is the left, and auxiliary 2 is the right, and auxiliary 3 was the fence row nozzles, but it's right in the name, fence row. They've smacked too many fence posts, and those don't work anymore. Our boom float is working, they're both enabled. GPS is driving the tractor itself. So I now mostly am just along for the ride until we come to the end of the pass and I need to turn it around. Operating the sprayer when it's in a straight line is actually fairly straightforward and pretty easy, but when it comes time to turning corners or going around sloughs, things are a little bit more interesting. I only started driving this machine when I was about 14, I think, 15 years old. This is the last machine on the farm that I learned to operate on my own, simply because you're going very fast, the booms are a long ways away, and fence posts are always closer than they appear. So the opportunity to cause damage is very high, unfortunately. There's a lot of consequence to driving the sprayer. If you screw up out here, you can't see where you've been or where you haven't been. If you have a plugged nozzle or you forget to turn a section back on after overlapping, you can leave a big mess of weeds in the field that can literally take years to deal with. So there's a fair bit of responsibility and burden to operating this machine, so the operator needs to be on point and try their best to not make any mistakes. To try to negate the mistakes, I have got a book here, and every single time I change products or change fields, I document who I am, or who put the tank out, what products were in the tank when you put them out, the rate at which you put them out, the nozzles you used, the weather conditions at the time that I was putting it out, approximately what time of day it was, and then of course how many acres on the field and which field I was in. We don't use a lot of this stuff on the front of the sprayer anymore, simply because we have a very sophisticated blend station that does the job a lot easier than the induction tank here on the hitch of the sprayer. But in the center of your picture there is a little black lid on top of a gray tank, and inside of that is where you can pour chemical, and using a Venturi it can be sucked into the sprayer using the sprayer pump. The other valves allow you to rinse out the tank, to agitate the tank, to run the spray wand that's hanging on the side of the rinse tank there, tank induction and container rinse inside of that induction tank, of course, plus a few other things. We don't use hardly any of that anymore, as I said, because we have a blend station. You can't see it really from here. We can see the yellow handle on the side of the sprayer. There's a 3-inch valve we have put into the side of the sprayer tank, and that is where we do pretty much all of our filling now, as the sprayer's existing infrastructure plumbing is only 2-inch, and it just takes a long time that way. So we can fill this 1,600 gallon sprayer in usually right around 10 to 12 minutes or so, depending on how many different products we're putting in. So refilling is not a very painful process, and most of our fields are close to the farmyard there, so we fill everything at home at the blend station. We do not do any in-field filling. That may change as we start to stream some fertilizer this year. We're coming upon a corner, and once we've done the corner, we'll conclude this tour, but I will show you what the corner looks like. Well, in the video, that tire sure looks like it's humdinging along, but it does not feel nearly as fast after a couple thousand acres in the seat here. At 10 miles an hour feels pretty slow right up until the moment that you come to a corner. So, you can't see where I've been, but the GPS knows where we've been. So, if I was really on the ball, I would go and I would turn off the left section. And I'd probably turn off the right section. I'm going to turn them both off, turn the GPS off. And with two hands usually, I'd start my corner. Make sure to turn those two back on. And try to line up for my next corner. When I have two hands and I'm relatively focused, I can usually hit this within a couple feet. I did not bad, 5 feet off. We'll get her back in within 2 feet, and then we can engage. We'll slow down for this little washout here, so I don't get bounced around too bad. We'll back up to speed. And when we get close, we will turn on the main switch. We'll turn off our right two sections. There's no need for those to be on for a little time here. And we'll give them a good 2 seconds of lead time to make sure they can get up to pressure. So that's the very basics of driving the sprayer. The biggest thing is remembering that the end of that boom is a lot further away than it looks, and that the objects are always closer than they appear. I will continue going back and forth here for quite a while, until I either fall asleep and drive off into the wild blue yonder, or until I'm done, whichever comes first. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more equipment tours in the future.